It's not much of a secret to say that Marvel Studios and the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 has been a relative disappointment compared to the first three phases that had building audiences, exploding merchandise sales. What we've seen from Phase 4 are often movies that come out with relatively big opening weekends, but then have fast drop-offs. And if you've been watching here on Valiant Renegade over the last several weeks and months, you've probably seen several conversations between myself and WDW Pro from thatparkplace.com regarding information that he and That Park Place received from folks at high-level positions in the toy manufacturing and retail industry. People that came to him and to That Park Place with quite a bit of very detailed information that has been vetted. And what we've seen has been the fact that Marvel toy sales have also been in decline, and you can see this on your own retail store shelves. Well, during the recent live stream Renegade Online, which you can catch on Sundays at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time US, Pro surprised us with some new information regarding what the toy companies and retailers have been hearing from Disney regarding Black Panther and a connection that they're trying to make with a certain X-Men character. Now, one thing you have to understand about the relationship between the manufacturing and retail side of merchandise versus the originator of the IPs, in this case Disney, is that conversations happen well in advance of new films or big television projects being released, so that toy manufacturers and retailers have enough lead time to get the proper things in the pipeline to make the right toys and to get them to the shelves before something drops. So more often than not, you will find that toy companies can shed a lot of light on upcoming projects from companies like Disney or Warner Brothers or Universal Studios because they know months before anything is made public. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The floor is now Pro's. Pro has some breaking information. Apparently, he does this to me like on Sundays. Like we're going to come here, we're going to talk shop, we're going to talk business, we're going to bring on some great people like John and Bounding into Comics, and then like 5 minutes before a show, I got some new shit for you. You know, here we go. Renegade Online.
Rumor. Okay, everybody, we're in Rumor Central here, okay? Get out your salt. Corporations out there who would like to be unkind. This is rumor. This is rumor. Repeat, this is rumor. All right, here we go. So third-party companies, when they were informed that Black Panther would not be recast, and so they were going to go with an all-female, what would you say, roster, an all-female roster, third parties that work with Disney may have become extremely concerned. And they may have become extremely concerned because if you don't recast Black Panther after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and if what you do instead of doing like a James Bond thing where you recast that role, if what you do instead is you go all-female, then what these companies realized was that it would wipe out a new demographic that they were making a ton of money off of. And that ton of money was coming from them being able to get African-American males, specifically fathers, to purchase their children Black Panther toys. And their fear now is that demographic is gone, that the African-American men who loved Black Panther action figures, let's say, and merchandise and T-shirts, yada, yada, they're not going to go out anywhere in the ballpark of what was happening before and purchase these toys, these action figures, which are based on female superheroes. Now, I'm not saying that, and I don't think the source is saying that in any kind of sexist way or any kind of negative way towards women. It's just being reported what they're concerned about. Now, it goes farther, though, okay? Combined with a second thing that I've received. Marvel also is aware that this is an issue. And you and I have talked about before that Black Panther is likely, at the end of the day, to double or triple what Wakanda Forever will do at the box office. Marvel knows that. And so here's what I'm being told. Letitia
In
Wright,
total global grosses we're talking about, just so everybody
right.
understands, yeah.
Marvel apparently, rumor people, remember we're in rumor territory, Letitia Wright is seen as problematic. And so they're not necessarily going to continue to lean upon her to carry that franchise. However, you and I
Can I
have
ask you a
talked in the
question real quick?
past- Go for it. Go for it.
Do they specify who she is problematic towards? Like, who are the people that have a problem with Letitia Wright?
No, they did not specify that.
Okay.
However, I could make a really strong guess. Letitia Wright did not want to participate in certain medical procedures, which caused filming issues and also caused stress between her and her co-stars, allegedly. So that would be my guess as why they might not want to continue forward with her. So here's the big news. And also, let me say this. If you're out there in the audience and you don't want to be spoiled potentially on something that's going to happen inside the MCU, this would be the time to drop. So I hate to do that to you, Valiant, but if you don't want to be spoiled,
go for it.
Apparently where they want to take the MCU in regards to Wakanda is they want to bring Storm in from the X-Men, and they want to tie in Storm to Wakanda and have her, because they feel like she can carry not only the franchise that deals with Black Panther and Wakanda, but also she can tie it into X-Men. They want to bring Storm in, and they think that solves their female problem. They think that people will buy that merchandise. However, third parties are not convinced, and third parties are deeply concerned and want to get back to Black Panther, the character. They want to get back not only in movies, but in shows and everything, because that character drives merchandise sales like crazy. So there you go.
I want to be clear on something. Two things really, and then John, I definitely want to get your thoughts on this as well. Black Panther, they know they need Black Panther, the original, the male character, not the we're going to redo it with Black Panther's sister because unfortunately Chadwick Boseman was called away way too soon from this world. So now they're going to turn it and turn Black Panther into a female character, right? Like you said, this was a boy's toy, right? And we know factually from this source that you and I have discussed before from the toy manufacturing industry, and
I'm not alleging who this one is, by the way. Just
right.
saying that.
And to be clear, I mean, we know who these people are. That is as specific as we can get publicly with these folks, but rest assured that Park Place and Pro has vetted these folks very, very well. And I want to be clear that the way that you said that, Pro, is the fact that this was Disney's idea is to do all of this, what you just said, with Storm, tying her into Wakanda, tying her into the Black Panther subset of the Marvel franchise, and trying to revitalize it from there. And it's the toy industry, the major toy manufacturers, where this source is, and merchandisers, yeah, that this source is intimately familiar with at a high level. They are not convinced by this plan. Is that's what you were saying?
That's exactly right. They need Black Panther specifically for male purchases. I mean, that's it. They need masculine purchases. They need dads buying toys for sons.
That's it. Yeah.
So I think that's almost too late. All the trailers seem to show that he's dead. The character is dead. There's it looks like they're having a funeral for him. Whether or not that's what actually happens is another story, or if there's some way they bring his spirit back. What I also found really interesting about their decision is that there was leaked emails. I'm not sure if they're true, if they were legit or not, but it seemed like they were legit leaked emails from Alan Horn and Kevin Feige reacting to Sony rebooting Spider-Man with Amazing Spider-Man. And they said they would never do that with Iron Man, and they would just go the James Bond route where they would just recast and they would continue the stories with the characters. So it was kind of interesting that they chose to basically said that they weren't going to recast him, and it doesn't look like they're going to recast him. So yeah, the Storm thing, how does that solve the male issue? Because that's still another female character.
Just real quick, I want to call everybody's attention. Tom, who's in the chat, who's also got a very good track record of getting some good inside information. Our buddy from Midnight's Edge After Dark here heard that there is a CGI Chadwick probably gets killed in the beginning. and that would make sense. But that's what Tom is here, and thank you for dropping that little tidbit, Tom.
And Tom, if you've heard anything on Storm, feel free to send a comment too. Would love to get that out there if you've heard anything.
How does Storm solve the issue with male fathers buying their sons Black Panther toys?
So I don't think it does.
Okay, right.
No, I think the toy companies don't think it does either. That's right, the point, is that this was like a Disney idea. And like chats like, let me bring this up for Bad Mojo, Valiant Renegade. Storm could work for a while if they let Storm be the beautiful, sexy goddess she is. Yeah, I love Storm. I love Halle Berry's Storm. Oh my God. Yeah, do that again. Give me Storm all day long. The problem is that she's a great character. She's not a replacement for Chadwick Boseman. She's not a replacement for Black Panther. Right. You can't, and to what John is saying is correct, to what Pro is saying is correct. This is what Disney thinks is going to work. We can make this work. And it's the toy companies that are saying right now, apparently, y'all, that doesn't solve the boys buy these toys problem. She-Hulk is not selling. Black Widow was not selling. From the same source that we had, they gave us some as specific numbers as they could on what was going on with Disney. Basically, hey, you want to sell Spider-Man merch? Oh, you want to sell Iron Man merch? You want to sell Cap merch, right? Like OG Cap, like Steve Rogers Cap. That's what sells. Avenger stuff still sells. It's still virtually an evergreen property for companies like Mattel and Hasbro and the retailers out there, be it Walmart, Target, whatever. That still works. But what Marvel does is, for every 10 units of Avengers or Cap or Iron Man that you buy, you have to also get 2 units each of She-Hulk and Black Widow and some Shang-Chi and all this. That is what they've been doing. And what he was telling us, what he was telling us was that the sales have dropped off for the merchandise, number one, and that the licensing fees have been reduced accordingly because of the extra crap that they're being saddled with, which means that Disney is receiving a lower paycheck from the major manufacturers like the Mattels and the Hasbros that pay Disney to acquire the rights to produce this stuff. But Disney is putting terms in the contract forcing them to make and ship to the retailers stuff that the manufacturers don't want to really make because they know it doesn't sell. And number two, the retailers don't want because it sits on the shelves or winds up at Ollie's right next to the Rose frickin' Tico dolls.
While you guys were talking, it's just popped in my head. So I'm going to throw it out there and you see what you think. But I can see why this would be true. And I can see why Disney would do everything in their power to save the Wakanda part of the MCU, even without Chadwick Boseman, even without Black Panther. So here's what popped in my head. So out of that Reimagine Tomorrow stuff that Disney got out there, we found out that Disney had created these thematic groups for minorities at the Walt Disney Company. If you're someone who, what would you even say here? If you're someone who identifies or legitimately is of African descent at the Walt Disney Company, they put you into a group called Wakanda. I mean, that is how much they have integrated that idea, that franchise, that segment of the MCU into their brand and into their company. So if you're looking for a character inside Marvel that you could bring into the MCU that would save the Wakanda part of this, yeah, I can see it being Storm, especially if you're going to replace, okay, so look from Disney's standpoint right here. Let's say that you're going into this and you know it's probably going to come way under what Chadwick Boseman did. Okay, your female cast is going to do that. Okay, here's your Disney PR problem. Let's all play the chess game, right? Let's get 4 and 5 steps ahead. If you're Disney, you know this is going to happen. You also know that there's going to be these claims of sexism. You know this is going to happen in the press. If this comes in at half of what the original Black Panther did, the press is going to say people refuse to come to see a black woman movie. They're going to compare it to The Woman King. This is going to become a narrative. Okay, how do you fix that if you're Disney? This is why this is making, as I think through this live with you guys, is making more sense to me. If you're Disney, you probably are not going to recast, or you're not going to get into a situation where you replace these women with a man of any ethnicity, but you might try Storm. And that's why right now, as I'm thinking this through, this is making a lot more sense.